Everybody, it's Michael from TRT Over 40.com. This is my first video, so if you're new to the channel and this is the only video, that's why, okay? If you've been here for a while and you're watching other videos, then you might want to watch this video just to see what the whole channel is all about. And I have the other channel, GetFitOver40.com. I've been running that channel for a long time. And you know, it's about fitness. It's got reviews. I do a lot of stuff on my competition lately. That's been more of a focus because it's been a focus in my life. And because of my certain appearance, you know, people make claims that I'm on all kinds of substances. You know, I'm on Tren, I'm on Clan, I'm on Winstrol, I'm on HGH. I've been told I'm on everything, right? And so I wanted to make a channel to actually address these people, right, and talk about the testosterone, the performance enhancing drugs, all of those things in a place that's separated from GetFitOver40.com, because as you know, YouTube is starting to get really picky about performance enhancing drugs, testosterone, steroids, bodybuilding, you know, anything to do with that, HGH, anything that's in that sort of taboo area people don't want to talk about. YouTube is demonetizing, you know, those videos and potentially those channels, and I didn't want that to happen with my other channel because that's really not the focus of that channel anyways, right? And so I did make a couple videos on TRT, and you know, they got a lot of views and there's tons of feedback. Some jerks obviously, and some people that honestly had some great information. I like information from people that actually are on TRT or are on certain drugs or whatever, and they can say, you know, hey, wait a second, it's not like that. And you know, you always hear from the haters, and usually the haters are the people that don't know anything about it because they don't have any personal experience. They're just going on what, you know, other people say. And so I like to hear information from people that have life experience, and hopefully that's what this channel is going to be about. It's a community where people aren't here to hate. If you're here to hate, then just go away. This is not what this is for. But if you have personal information, you want to help other people with TRT or human growth hormone or performance enhancing drugs, there's lots of people out there competing in competitions where it's not banned or anything like that. It's completely legal. You know, that's a whole choice for other people. People have the choice what they want to do without being judged. It's their choice. So that's what this forum's for. I want to talk mostly about TRT, but that doesn't mean that's all we're going to talk about. People again have claimed that I'm on all these different things. So what is my situation? What's going on with me? Okay, about 3.5 years ago, I went into my doctor. I was training hard. I was making progress. It wasn't so much about I wasn't making progress. I wasn't getting stronger. I wasn't putting on muscle. It was just recovery was slow. Energy wasn't great. You know, I just wasn't, you know, a lot of joint issues. Just body was feeling old, I guess. That's the best way to say it. Mine wasn't old. I was willing to do the work. I was doing the work, but the body was saying, hey, you know, what are you doing to me, right? So I went and had my blood work done, and interestingly, I did a no-no. I went in to get my blood work done right after doing heavy deadlifts, which I shouldn't have done because that actually spikes your testosterone for a short period of time. Not a significant amount of time where, like, people say, oh, if you do heavy lifting, your testosterone is going to naturally be so much up there and it's going to help you. It does help you, but it's so minimal. The spike you get from doing heavy lifting is minimal. Especially if you've got low levels, it's not going to make a huge difference, right? Can you put muscle on without testosterone and stuff? Sure you can. A lot of it's recovery and how you feel that the testosterone helps with. So anyways, I went into the doctor and we did the blood work, and I came back at just above the low norms. So here in Canada, if I was just below the low norms, I could have gone on TRT, doctor prescribed, and the Canadian government would have paid for it, and I just go to my pharmacy and I get reimbursed, which is fine and dandy. But the reality is buying testosterone in Canada, you buy it on your own. It's not expensive. To be totally honest, you could probably buy your testosterone for TRT type doses for about $50 a month. I mean, it's not expensive. It's cheaper than a lot of your other supplements. So that pricing wasn't a factor. It wasn't the biggest issue for me. Getting my blood work done was the biggest thing. If I'm going to be on a TRT dose, I want to get my blood work done, you know, and see how it affects it. That's important. Estrogens, testosterone, you know, other things like liver, red blood count, things like that are important to know about, right? And also monitoring your prostate if you're on any type of testosterone is a good idea if you're older. So so the blood work thing is more important to me. It wasn't really the getting on a prescription. So at that point I decided I'm going to just, you know, go on my own self-managed TRT dose. And at the time I was taking probably about 1 to 150 milligrams for a while there, playing around with it to see how it helped. And it got me, 150 gets me right into the mid-high levels nicely, with a slight estrogen boost, slightly on the high levels, but not over. So, and if you're running TRT, you want to get your estrogen levels to the lower norm levels. You don't want to be under, you don't want to be in the highs, you want to be sort of in the lows, because the higher the estrogen, the more water retention and bloat and other things that you can get. So you kind of want to be in the low levels. So you're gonna, if you are on TRT, it's always good to maybe perhaps take like an anti-estrogen pill or something like that, if you can, right? If your doctor will prescribe it, or if you're self-managing, get that yourself. So anyways, that's kind of like my TRT dose is anywhere, I go anywhere from 100 to 200 milligrams a month. That's my TRT dose. That's it. You might think, wow, like right now, 200 milligrams. And the reason I'm up to 200 is because I've got a competition coming up, and I'm trying to maintain my strength as much as possible in the off season. So I wanted a little edge, just to maintain my strength from the last competition and size. But you know, you might say, well, okay, 200, that's on the higher level. Most TRT doses are 100 to 200. That's on the high side. Yeah, and it puts me right up in the highs, which is where I want to be when I'm trying to keep my size. I've been as low as 100 for competition, and I did the BCs a couple years back, my first BCs and my only BCs, and I was on 100 milligrams of TRT, or of testosterone, and I got first place in Masters Physique and second place in Open Physique, and then 5 weeks later I went into the Nationals, and I did increase it a little bit, but only to 150. So the reason I increased it is because I was doing I was going to ramp up my training. I was really lean at the time, coming off the BCs, and I wanted to make sure my recovery and everything was good. So I bumped it up to 150, ate a little bit like a horse for a few weeks just to try and put on a little bit of size, and then did like a 3-week cut, 2.5-week cut. And I got first place in Nationals, in Masters, and it was like 10th or 11th in Open. Now the guys on stage in Open were pretty beastly looking. They were huge guys. They looked like kind of like bodybuilders that year. That was like the first year. I mean, one of the last years where the guys looked that big in the non-pro forum. But now it's like, I don't know. I think they're coming down a little bit. But they were huge that year, and I still got like 11th or 10th or 11th. So I did well, right? And that was on 150 milligrams. So yeah, I mean, you don't need to take a ton of gear to look like this, okay? This is not a ton of gear. I'm not on anything like Tren or Winstrol or D-Ball or anything like that. I just take right now 200 milligrams testosterone. And this guy's way bigger than me that are probably natural. So this is attainable. This is not some magical thing. This is hard work and eating and making sure my testosterone is where it needs to be in a normal range, believe it or not. That's where I'm at, okay? Now, moving forward, I will be competing in what's it called, the Pro-Am in July this year, and that's about, I think, 4.5, 5 months away, something like that. Anyways, it's July, so I need to put on some size, because I did a show, Popeyes Classic, Fall Classic, just a little while ago, and I competed in Classic Physique, and I got 3rd place in Open, because they don't have a Masters category. So that was my first show, and I did pretty well. But I came in really light. I could have literally come in like with 15 pounds more muscle and still made weight. So that gives you an idea of, you know, comparatively, some of the guys were like a good 10, 15 pounds heavier than me on stage, maybe even more, because they came in dry and dehydrated and then kind of, you know, recomped for the show day. So I need to put a little bit of weight, and it's really tough. I mean, I've been kind of going from, like, again, I started out, I was 175, no TRT. I got up to about close to 190 without TRT, and I was pretty lean. I was still under 10%, and I got up to about 190 pounds, and that was doing a lot of really heavy lifting. I was doing a lot of CrossFit, but it was like a lot of compound movement CrossFit. We were just like focused on all the main, the four: overhead press, deadlift, squat, bench press. We did tons of that stuff, heavy lifting, and I put on some size. It was the first time I'd ever done that. I'd never really trained that way, and I put size on. Why? Because I'd never done it before. I'd never lifted that heavy. I'd never pushed compound movements like that. And I went from like 175 up to close to 190 pounds in like 3-4 months, just doing that. And I didn't gain a lot of fat. It was very little fat gain. It was almost entirely muscle. So good 10 to 12 pounds of muscle. And then when I did get on my self-managed TRT, I did go up to about 205, but that was like a dirty bulk. It was I was pretty fluffy at 205. And then I cut down to about 193 pounds. Right now, I'm 200 pounds, okay? Give you an idea. So that was the TRT. And I started out playing around with it a bit. I did up it a little bit for a bit just to play around. But you know, really, it came down. I actually, once I got down to the 193, I dropped my TRT down to, I think I dropped it down to 120. Just because I just wanted to just see, right? I mean, it's playing around, experimenting with the levels, see what the blood work came back with. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes you don't need all that stuff, right? Because you can get side effects. And what I found is when I'm around, you know, anything over 150 milligrams of testosterone, I start to break out a little bit on my shoulders. And, you know, I know how to manage it now, but if I didn't know how to manage it back then, so I always thought, okay, let's just back it down so I don't get the side effects and things like that. Because who wants to look really great but have acne all over their... I don't really get it on my back, but I was getting to some of the shoulders here, right? And that's the area that I would get it. I don't get it on my face or anything or all over my back. It's pretty you know, contained. But with me, with my English skin, you know, when I get a pimple, it's usually a boily kind of pimple. It's not that I get a lot of them, but then it's like the scar stays around for like literally a year. It'll stay pretty red for 6 months, and then it starts to fade. So it looks like there's a lot more acne there than there isn't, so it kind of doesn't look great. Anyways, that's a whole other video. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk a lot more about this stuff. I've rambled on a lot, but I just wanted you to get to know me in this video, kind of what I'm all about. With this Popeye show coming up, I'm not sure how I'm going to approach that to gain that 10-15 pounds. I'm going to have to take it to the next level, and you know, I want to make sure that health is the #1 thing. So whatever I do, it's not going to sacrifice my health. I want to do it in such a way that you know, it will be short term, but it you know, it will be to get a certain result, to get good 10 pounds of muscle for that show. And being at 200 milligrams of testosterone isn't probably going to do it. I mean, I'm pretty much, I'm maxed. I wouldn't say I'm maxed out. I slowly am making gains. Over time, I'm slowly making gains, right? The Popeye show, I came in at 195 shredded. The show prior to that, I was closer to 190. And the show before that, I was closer to 185 shredded. So every time, I'm coming 3 to 4 to 5 pounds more muscle per year, but it's slow. It's a slow process, right? Off season right now, 200 pounds, but you know, am I quite as muscular as I was for the Popeyes? Probably not. Maybe 2-3 pounds less muscle, but I was 195, but I'm only 200 pounds, so that means I've only got about 7 pounds extra fat on me. That's not a lot, right? I can lose that pretty quick and get shredded pretty quick. So stay posted, keep watching the channel, subscribe if you haven't. If you don't know about GetFitOver40.com, my other YouTube channel, go over there, check it out. Again, that one's more for reviews, kind of workout videos, you know, nutrition, things like that, tips and things. That's what that channel is about. This channel is more about talking about, of course, TRT and other types of ways for people to stay young, get fit, put on muscle. That's what this channel is all about. All right, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.